All right, so we have updated damage calculations when it comes to version 2 of Himeko Nova. Now, the key aspects here when it comes to just her overall damage, for the most part, was just the fact that the companion protocols were adjusted and changed. The verdict had a 100% increase in total damage, whereas the decimation was actually nerfed a little bit in terms of what the crit damage value provided to everybody, as well as their skill crit damage value was decreased by 30%. Another thing to note is that her light cone was actually reduced. Yes, the assist skill damage was increased, but overall the ultimate damage was actually decreased by 30%, so that is a pretty significant nerf if you take in comparison to the fact that it was 100% decreased with the verdict in terms of the ultimate. Now, we have gone over this nice, beautiful damage zero cycle system here provided by Exciting Suite 1064, and they do have like a little bit of a somewhat updated version in terms of what the character is going to be capable of providing. Now, looking at this chart here, you can see, yes, characters do a lot. Yeah, it kind of tells me what I really need to know, but the real chart here is courtesy of Camaradia and overall DPS output. I do think that this person, when it comes to damage calculations, is actually a little more reliable and very, very good, quite frankly. And for this damage test, they did go over the V2. We can see, whoops, must read right here. Obviously, you know, they also have the stuff on their Discord for theory crafting and all of that fun jazz. So if you want to go ahead and go look on it, by all means, go ahead and go for it. But for the overall damage, this is what they have. Now, granted, they have Himeko doing the most damage when it comes to 5 targets. It makes a lot of sense because she's going to be Erudition. One thing I do want to note, though, is the fact that they do have Sunday, Sparkle, and Donhung PT. And scrolling up here, I did see a little M Blade action, Martonix Blade. Let's see if I can find that real quick. Why he isn't really necessarily included in these calculations when it comes to the overall damage. We can see right there, frequent damage with amplifier, that being Blade or Tribi, because of the true damage, or just Blade just doing Blade things. It seems as though that they really want to focus on the verdict. We can see right here that Lasting Sunday is not bad for Himeko with verdict. They're kind of synergistic, and they amp, or any amp he doesn't have, Sparkle makes up for it. So you can see here that really leaning into the verdict side of it, focusing mainly on the overall ultimate damage that we did see, that 100% increase, because you are going to be having Donhung PT providing an attack increase to Himeko, which he's able to scale off of, which I've already said multiple times, providing a shield as well. And then you have the correlation between Sparkle and Sunday. Sparkle being to advance action forward instantly, 100% for Himeko Nova to be able to get more assist skills active and available, ready to go, which is going to be very good, while also being able to just boost her overall damage as well, similar with Sunday. But Sunday, on the flip side, is able to restore her energy generation. So you can see that the team is going to be very quick and fast moving, prioritizing Himeko Nova being able to get her ultimate, as you can see with the damage variations. At 5 targets, the DPAV, damage per action value, is going to be 101,351. And you can see right here all the investment levels is that Sunday has his light cone, right? And then we can see down here in terms of what overall damage character is going to be able to provide with various Erudition light cones. I do think is very, very important. You can see here also the distinction that Night on the Milky Way right here at Superimposition 5 compared to Superimposition 1. You can see that the overall DPAV is about 9,000. However, saying that, even this, the Night on the Milky Way, the original Himeko light cone, is still going to be significantly worse when it comes to overall damage per action value, which I think is a little more tangible in terms of looking at that rather than the overall damage the character is going to be providing, because obviously it's going to be very, very important to be playing precise precision gameplay. And you're looking at about a 30,000 difference when it comes to DPAV, so that's also very important to note. As a note here provided by him, we can see that a little worse in supposed to be decimation again, but still best in slot. I believe E1 makes her more valuable. It's version 2. So looking right here, right, when it comes to light cone or eidolons, right, what really is the biggest damage? So we can see here we have a base value of 101,357 or 45 million, but again we're going to focus more on the DPAV. So looking at this, right, we are going to use this as our baseline as well as this as our baseline when it comes to the character with E0 compared to the character with just S1. And then if we move up to E1 S0, we can see it's a 27,000 increase when it comes to getting the eidolon rather than getting the light cone, even though the light cone is still nerfed. So you can see, even in comparison with this, for people suggesting and thinking, what should I get? Should I invest into E1 or S1? Well, you can see even right here, it is about a 20,000 increase with the light cone rather than the E1. So in terms of investment wise, it makes way more sense to get the signature rather than getting the eidolon. Then moving up here, we can see E2 versus E1, and at this point we're going to look at both of them. You can see that it's still quite crazy, about a 26,000 DPS increase when it comes to overall what the character is going to be able to provide. Whereas we jump from this bracket, the E1 S1 to E2 S1, still extremely massive increase. And we all see the note on the side here, if I scroll a little bit further, is that 26% over the signatures seem from the previous eidolon a bit better in the decimation, 14% over the signature of the previous eidolon a bit better in decimation. I still think people are kind of thinking of Himeko wrong, right? Granted, this is just version 2. Version 3, typically where all the major changes occur, is what could possibly change all of this. But currently at this given point, when it comes to the overall DPS value of Himeko, the best value is to be going decimation rather than the verdict. The verdict rather than decimation, because of the fact that, you know, you are going to be able to get more damage through the ultimate rather than simply just the assist skill. So I do think that is going to be significantly more valuable. And obviously, you know, if we go up even further, you know, the damage numbers get ridiculously high if you get to E6 and all of that fun jazz. But we can see here that at the generalistic investment level for players, in comparison for the E1, S1, all the way up to E2, right? This is the DPS of value that you are currently going to be seeing when it comes to the version 2 iteration of Himeko Nova.